Everybody, if I could have your attention real quick. As you get comfortable, get seated as per request of Pujya Swami and Sadhviji. If we could just start to limit our chatting and less chatting and more chanting. How's that sound, everybody? So we'll do some call and response kirtan. Sitaram. Everybody please say Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram. Good. So we'll chant it, please repeat it back. Everybody please sing. Everybody please sing. From your heart, everybody, bolo. Everybody, please chant a little louder. Jaya Sitaram. Everybody, let's welcome Pujya Swami Sadhvi with our voices. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram.
Good evening. Such a delight to see everyone and to be here and to be in the presence of Pujya Swamiji and Sadhviji here tonight, who bless our community in coming. My name's Tommy Rosen, and I have a very quick moment just to introduce people who need no introduction. But I will say that the lesson through the ages is surround yourself with high people. That consciousness is contagious. You catch it, and you can catch it in either direction. And when I find people who are quantumly further along the path than me, I try to get around them and spend as much time with them to the extent that I can, where they don't feel like I'm a stalker. But just devoted. So we all are interested. We all are interested in the same thing. Peace in our heart and peace on earth. And with that, we've come to catch a consciousness together. So, such an honor that you came. Thank you, Pujya Swamiji, Sadhviji. Blessings.
It's such a blessing to be here. Such deep gratitude to this incredible team here at Rama Yoga, to Govindas and Jacqueline for being the beautiful bridge to make this happen. And of course, filling the space with such sacred sound. Let's begin by just closing our eyes for a few moments. As we all actually allow ourselves to arrive. I'll ask Pujya Swamiji to begin by leading us in the sacred, alchemical sound of the Vedic chanting. It's said that the Vedic mantras have the power to literally alchemically transform us. It's not about semantic comprehension of the words, but about the energetic frequency of the sound. And to have them chanted, offered by a master, by an awakened being who brings that light to all, is a very special blessing. So I'll ask Pujya Swamiji to take us all into that very sacred space. of truth.
Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garudadhvaja Mangalam Pundarikaksho Mangalayatano Harihi Sarvamangalamangale Shive Sarvart Sadhike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Brahma Muraris Tripurantakari Bhanu Shashibhu Misuto Buddhasya Guruscha Shukraha Shanirahu Ketava Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
allow the eyes to stay closed. And allow the reverberation of that energy to move through your physical body and through your energetic body. Feel the way the cells of your being respond to the sacred sound. Where we live in India is on the banks of the sacred Mother Ganga River, the bringer, the bestower of liberation, of freedom. But Mother Ganga is a goddess, not limited only to the molecules of H2O in a particular riverbed. Wherever you invoke the presence of Mother Ganga, she is there. Take a moment and just allow yourself to feel the flow of the sacred Mother Goddess River flowing through you. As you inhale, feel her literally coming into you through every cell of your being. Feel that energy. Of the Mother Goddess Ganga. Feel her flowing in and through you. And as you exhale, feel her waters rushing through you, pulling from within you all of that which is holding you back and keeping you stuck. As you exhale, feel that water, that sacred flow of liberation flowing through you, cleaning you out, loosening, and then releasing all of that which is stuck inside of you. Angers, grudges, pains, stories we tell ourselves, identifications, unfulfilled expectations. Whatever it is that is choking up your spiritual channel within you. Feel those waters of Mother Ganga flowing through you and washing it all away. As you inhale, she flows into you, coming forth from high in the Himalayas, carrying that sacred energy into you. And as you exhale, and you let go of the breath, she carries out with the breath on her waters, all of that which has been keeping you stuck. Just let it go. Let her take it. Let the waters flow. And as she flows through you, through all of the nooks and crannies and crevices of the body, the mind, the energy system, as she flows through you, touching every aspect of you, feel yourself begin to awaken under that loving touch, the very strong and fierce but loving touch of the Mother Goddess. Feel that flow, flowing through you, touching, freeing, and awakening you. Ever so gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level in Namaste, and rub the palms of your hands gently against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Gently lower the hands and open the eyes. It's such a blessing to be together. and to be together in this flow of grace. I remember someone asked me yesterday, flow of grace, what are you going to talk about? Flow of grace. So I don't know, we'll see where the flow of grace takes us. That is the point. I remember when I had just gotten to India. Now it's been more than 26 years, but when I had just gotten there and was just in the very early days of being blessed and taught and transformed by Pujya Swamiji, I don't remember what the question was that I had asked him, but in response to it, he tells me a story. And the story goes, he says, and these are pretty close to his exact words, he says, so one day, God was having lunch with his wife. Now, I was a 25-year-old Jewish woman from Los Angeles, a psychology student, thinking, God, his wife having lunch? Like that woman, it was so far from any possible understanding. I mean, I was never religious. I was not raised in a religious family. I didn't have a sense of being religious. I also didn't have a sense of even being spiritual. But nonetheless, you move through just the culture, even for only 25 years, and you get a decent sense of what people's religious and spiritual backgrounds are. And I had just never heard anyone say anything even remotely like God was having lunch with his wife. But you have to realize this was a guru trying to tell a story from the Hindu scriptures to a young woman who knew absolutely nothing about Hinduism, absolutely nothing about the Vedas, absolutely nothing about the culture, the religion, the theology of the world that I now was in. So essentially he had dumbed down the story significantly in order to be able to give me the teaching. So it began with him saying, so God was having lunch with his wife. And in the middle of the lunch, God stands up and he rushes out of the room. And his wife is thinking, what happened? And a few minutes later, God comes back and he sits back down at the table and his wife says, what happened? Like you ran out of lunch and then you ran back. And of course, my 25-year-old non-spiritual academic scientist brain is trying to wrap itself around this story of God and his wife essentially having, what sounded like a very normal mealtime conversation. But he evidently then said, well, a devotee of mine was in trouble. And so I had to rush out to take care of him, to protect him. He was being badly abused, and he needed me. So I had to rush out in the middle of lunch. But just as I was about to come to his rescue, I noticed that he had picked up sticks and started fighting them off. And so I realized, I guess he doesn't need me. I'll come back and finish my lunch. Now, I share this story with you because even in the very simplistic and quite funny in retrospect way that it was offered to me, the teaching is one that has been with me for a very, very long time in a very powerful way. It's a teaching of surrender and faith. It's a teaching of, hey, it's not all up to me. It's not all on my shoulders. I'm not all alone here. I'm actually being cared for, carried in the arms of the divine, of the universe, of whatever way we connect with that divine power of grace. And even though I may think I'm alone, the divine is with me. The universe is with me. And so it was a teaching of surrendering to the divine. And for me, that was always a really important teaching because it was not how I grew up. I grew up, as I think many of us have, feeling like it's all up to me. I've got to take care of it all. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done, or at least it's not going to get done right. Everything is on my shoulders, on my head. It's up to me. I'm alone here, struggling, sweating, working. And there's this sense of I have to figure it out. I have to be the one to manage it all, to figure out how to manage my life. And that was really my way of thinking. And it had been since I was quite young. I mean, I remember being in school, being given group projects, and essentially saying to everyone in the group, don't do anything. I will do it all. I promise you you're going to get an A. Just don't interfere. Just don't do anything. And it's obviously embarrassing to share 40 plus years later, but that was the mindset and the world that I was brought up in, of you do it, you will manage it, you will take care of it, it's all up to you. God forbid you should have to rely on someone else even doing part of a project, let alone actually carrying your life, actually nourishing, nurturing you, giving you what you need when you need it. I mean, that was inconceivable. And so this beautiful lesson was a lesson of letting go, a lesson of learning to exhale, a lesson of realizing there is a power. And it doesn't matter what you call it, it doesn't matter how you envision it, none of that matters. It's the power that makes seeds sprout into trees that then give us fruit, that turns caterpillars into butterflies, that makes flowers open their petals in the morning sun, that makes us wake up in the morning, that there is a grace. And for me, that aspect of letting go has been really key. In terms of being in the flow of grace, if I only were allowed to give you one piece, which fortunately I'm not, but if I were, it would be let go. It was the first teaching Pujya Swamiji gave me. I had been there. It was a few days, 3 days, 4 days. And I asked him about fear. And he said to me, you fear, because you can imagine if you've got to hold up the world at 25, you live in a lot of fear and stress and anxiety. And he said, you fear because you don't trust. And I then gave him my story, which many of you know, but it's a story of great opportunity, great privilege, great blessings, and in the midst of that, also great struggle from childhood. I was someone who, if you had looked at me from the outside, you would have said, this girl has everything. She's got it all perfect. I had graduated undergrad from Stanford. I was in the midst of getting a PhD in psychology. It looked great. And yet, because I felt like I had to hold up everything, hold on to everything, there was a death grip on life that prevented me from being able to live. There was a grip, a death grip on what had happened to me, the story I told myself about what I had been through. I had experienced a very, very traumatic abuse in early childhood that, as I went into my adolescence and early 20s, unsurprisingly sent me into a path of addiction. I was severely bulimic, in and out of hospitals, and holding on to life literally with a death grip. But what I had learned to do that I felt very successful about was manage it all. I had been managing since I was a kid. Hold it all in your grip. But it suffocated me. It suffocated me in an identification with the one to whom this had happened. It was an identification in a box that was locked, that had no give. And so I give him my story. He says, you fear because you don't trust. And I give him the story. Here it is. Here's why I don't trust. And he looks at me and he says, are you going to take that to the grave? I was 25. I said, God, no, of course not. He said, so are you going to give it up on your deathbed? Maybe a week before you die, maybe a month before you die. And I said, God, no, of course not. I'm in process, right? I'm working on it. I mean, there's a process, and I'm in it, and I'm working on it. And he looked at me and he said, you're waiting for someone to come in and draw the line for you. You're waiting for someone to come in and tell you that you can be done. He said, no one will. He said, it's up to you. You can carry this pain, this anger, this identification, this story to the grave. You can let it go on your deathbed, or you can let it go tonight. So it's a long and very beautiful story, but the end of it was he had me standing in the waters of Ganga, giving it to the river, letting it go. And it's so interesting and so amazing as I look back on it 26 years later, because what I see in my life and in the lives of so many is we hold on. We hold on to things that are actually the very thing that is keeping us from living the way we want to live. I mean, it's this tragic irony. I am stuck because, fill in the blank with whatever your blank is, and yet I'm holding on to that. If someone says, well, let go of it, you say, I can't. And we are all trapped. And it reminds me of one of my very favorite stories of this city in India where they were overrun by monkeys, which anybody who's come to India knows that that's a serious problem that we have in a lot of Indian cities. And they decided to solve the problem by a non-violent way. It's a country in which we don't harm, we don't hurt. Okay, so what to do? So what they did was they took coconuts and they hollowed out coconuts and they stuck in the coconut something that a monkey loves, a piece of fruit, a sweet. But the key was that they made the hole in the coconut just big enough for the open hand to go in and too small for a closed fist to come out. Now you imagine, they are our closest DNA relatives, right? They are smart cookies. That monkey is going to figure out that once it sticks its hand in and it grabs the sweet or the fruit and now it can't get its hand out, it's just going to let go, right? Right? I mean, it's going to realize you've got 4 legs, one of them is stuck in a coconut. You can't run, you can't climb, you can't swing from branches. They're just going to let go. But they didn't. And it became this perfect monkey catching technique because, of course, when you can't run or climb, the monkey catchers then were able to catch them and take them back to the jungle without hurting them, but free the city of the presence of monkeys. And I love that story because that's really how so many of us live. They are our closest DNA relative. And that's how most of us live. We hold on to something. For the monkeys, it was a fruit, a sweet. We hold on to something with this death grip that we think is the thing. Whether it's a desire we have, an expectation we have, an attachment we have, an identification we have, an addiction we have, a story we have, an anger we have, a grudge we have that is our badge. Whatever it may be, we hold on to it, quite literally for dear life, and yet it takes our life. It actually is the thing that keeps us stuck. And so, being in the flow, that's why I began with the meditation on Ganga. Being in that flow is letting go and realizing that we are the only thing in our way. It's not about bringing grace. A lot of times people say, my God, I just please, bless me that grace should flow. Grace is there. But we are not present and available to grace because we are there in the way. It's like if you imagine I was just talking about this the other day, if you imagine a tap that's on, water is flowing out of a tap beautifully. But your bucket is upside down. Anybody who's ever bathed in India knows we fill up buckets. And if the bucket is upside down, you're not going to get any water. So it's not about bringing grace. Grace is there. It's about asking ourselves, how do I flip that bucket? How do I turn the bucket the right way? How do I get out of the way of grace? I remember the very first time that I ever had to give satsang, and it became for me this core teaching and way of just being in the flow. We were sitting in Pujya Swamiji's garden after the arti, and people come for darshan, and sometimes people would have questions, and sometimes they would just come for blessings. And on this particular day, there was a large group, and they asked a question. And he says, Sadhviji. And I thought it was Sadhviji, comma. Like he was going to say, Sadhviji, go and get them this book that I've written in which I've answered the question that they've just asked. Or Sadhviji, go and tell the kitchen that these people are going to stay back for dinner after I'm done answering their question. Or whatever it was going to be, that there was going to be some instruction. And I wait. And then I turn and I look at him and I realize it was Sadhviji period, not Sadhviji, comma. It was you answer this question. It was just Sadhviji. And I thought, okay, I'm a good student. I had already done a lot of writing articles, books of Pujya Swamiji's teachings and things in those years, and thought, all right, I can do that. And I closed my eyes, and as a student, I always had used note cards to study. You know, you write the question on the front and the answer on the back, or you use them to organize your thoughts before you write a report. And so I close my eyes and I start to try to get the note cards in my brain in the right order of what am I going to start with, and then what am I going to build it with, and, you know, come up with a proper plan in my mind before I speak it. But as anyone who's ever studied the psychology of stress or even the neurology of stress knows, it's not very good for creative thinking. The faster the heartbeat goes, the higher the blood pressure. It's like there's this direct relationship between up with the stress and down with the creativity, up with the stress, down with the flow. So as I feel the pressure of all these people staring at me, now I can't even see what's on these note cards, and they're flying all over my brain, and I realize I can't do this. I couldn't come up with even one coherent thought. My brain was just like a tornado. And of course I'm mortified. And I open my eyes and think, he's going to save me. I know he's going to save me. And I look and he's... and I then close my eyes. And in my mind, I bow down to him. And I say, I'm so sorry. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. And I bow in my mind. I'm low on the ground. And then in my mind, I sit back up and I open my eyes, fully prepared to just sit in the shame of 50 people staring at me, waiting for me to talk, and I have nothing to say. And I open my eyes and I just gently opened my mouth. I don't even think I was planning on saying anything. Maybe I was just going to take a breath. And suddenly the words started flowing. And I look out and I see people crying. And later on that evening, somebody said to me, God, I heard you gave a beautiful satsang. What did you talk about? And I said, I have no idea. And that was probably about 15 years ago. And I share it with you because what I learned that day is still the most powerful technique that I know of connecting to the flow of grace, is just get out of the way. Whatever you need to do, I mean, in my mind, it's always still this visualization of just bowing and creating that space of, it's not in me, but it's going to flow through me. And that is the key. When we think it is up to us, I have to make it, manage it, create it, do it, we block grace. When we realize I'm an instrument, it's like that beautiful prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, right? That says, "Oh Lord, let me be an instrument of thy grace, of thy peace." An instrument. And that's what it's about, is how can I get out of the way and be an instrument? And lastly, so much to share, but just lastly for now, for me, the presence of grace isn't something that gives us something, as in, God, grace was really with me, I caught my flight. I thought I was going to miss it, I got it, grace is with me. Or grace is really with me, I won the lottery. Or all of my stocks went up. Or grace is really with me, that annoying neighbor finally moved away. It's not about what we're going to get or what we're going to get rid of. But it's about a spaciousness in the self in which it's all there and it's all okay. You think about if this is you or me or any of us, cup full of water, and rocks fall in it. You can think of the rocks as like whatever it is you want that you don't have, or whatever you want to be rid of that is there, sort of the desires, the attachments, the expectations, the frustrations, the obstacles. What most of us try to do as this cup is push them away. How can I just push them away? But if instead of falling into this cup, those rocks fell into the ocean, they wouldn't create much of a ripple at all. In the cup, yeah, they create this whole big mess. No wonder we want to keep them from falling in. The rocks fall, our life splashes all over the place. We're literally coming out of ourselves, losing ourselves, storms and turmoil and whatnot. But if the same rocks fell in the ocean, there's barely a ripple. And so, as we allow the flow of grace, it's not, oh, grace, keep these rocks from falling. But it's, fill me in such a way that I become the ocean. Allow me to open to you so much to break the border and the boundary of the self as the cup that thinks that these rocks are the things that are causing it to lose itself. Let me realize I'm the ocean, because I'm not separate from you, and you are infinite. which means I am infinite. And so as we open to that presence of grace, it creates that spaciousness in which it's all there. And it's all okay. And it's all part of the perfection of the universe. I want to stop here for now and ask Param Pujya Swamiji to bless us on how we can step and be and live in that heavenly flow of grace.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. A beautiful stories Sadhviji has shared, the way she said the story about herself. It's everybody's story, and everyone has a story. But it's up to us when we can draw the line. When we can say enough, done, seen. Let me give a new beginning. Yesterday, we were in beautiful Tommy's house, our Topangan Himalayan home. And we were talking about this free will. He asked some questions and we had a beautiful, some thought-sharing session moments. I shared that when I was in the jungle, someone asked a beautiful question to a saint living in the caves. What is life? The person was thinking, poor Swamis, being in the cave all the time, being in the Himalayas, having nothing. And I don't know why he's stuck here. For him, what is the meaning of life? And people have a different kinds of meanings for their lives. I remember when I came, first time, in 43 years ago, there was a couple, doctor couple, being in Pittsburgh. The lady, Dr. Nina, asked me one question. When I answered her about the jungle story and everything, she said, you know, when I look at you, you are so young, I feel very pity. I said, why? I said, why? I have a beautiful life. Yeah, you don't know how much you are missing, she said. You don't know how much you are missing. I didn't say anything much to her, but I thought in my mind, I wish you know how much you are missing. And now, after almost 35 years later, she met me in Florida. She said, I asked, very silly I was that I told you that time, I wish you knew how much you are missing. But now I can tell you, after having everything, beautiful children, beautiful husband, beautiful big bungalow on the ocean, very successful life, successful doctors. But I can tell you today, you were right. And now I think that how much we are missing here. After having everything, life is not set. Something is missing. And you shared your days in the jungle and said, about your story. And I was not very convinced. And I was, yeah, it's okay, but you don't know how much you are missing. There's so much to experience. So much temptation is there. You just come with me. I'll take you to the movie theater. I said, when I came here also, I was in Malibu. When I came, first trip was to California, in Malibu. I was staying in Malibu. And after staying 1 week, the guy said, I want to take you to Hollywood. I really didn't know what is Hollywood is all about. But I imagine in my mind, because I'm coming from Hollywoods, so maybe something like that will be here also. So I said, okay. And he agreed, and he took me to his car, and we are going to the Universal Studio. He showed me everything, because he had a good connection that time with some people, and he showed me many things. After spending hours, we were coming back. And I started, rather than talking about Hollywood, he thought I will be very impressed and sharing the experience. But rather than that, I just started asking him his spiritual life and satsang and meditation and everything. And middle of the satsang was being shared with him. He said, please, 1 minute. I said, okay. He said, can you just look outside the window? I looked around. There was a beautiful car passing by. He said, this is Rolls-Royce. I said, okay. I said, He said, but please, I'm sorry, start your satsang. I will start your satsang. Rest I will share with you when we reach there. I said, okay. We started our own satsang. By the time we reach home, it's too late, had juice and we went to sleep. Next morning he comes and I had to leave also that day. And before we started packing our things to the car, and he said, one moment. I said, okay. I want one blessing.
I closed my eyes. He said, you remember we were driving yesterday back home and I showed you one car? I said, yes. Just one blessing. But said, I saw the car when I was going to sit there. I said, same, similar car, everything. It's also Rolls Royce, because it was big people. So they were Rolls Royce. She said, but I said, you have Rolls Royce. He said, but that model. I want that model. Please, please, have just blessing upon me. Just that model. That model. I did not say anything to him. But I closed my eyes and said, I wish being here rather than having new models. Why don't you make your life your itself model for yourself, for your family? That you become the model for your family. That they look at you and think, even midst of everything, our dad was so grounded, so anchored, so set. Rather than this model to that model and this car to that car. This is life. Never ending. And two types of people you meet. When you meet people and you ask them how they are, most of the time, very rarely people say, oh, I am set, I am so happy, I don't need anything. If you ask Tommy, he's done. Nothing is needed, I am set. But very rarely it happens. God bless you when you feel like that. But most of the time, people, when you ask them how they are, say, they will give you the big list of what wrong is going on, what is not right in their life. And they are not happy. Because when you have an experience of less and lacking, then there's no end. One thing you lack, you have it again. Next day, again you're lacking. Again you're feeling less and low without that thing. Because you have an experience of that. And there are others, being in the jungle, what I have not seen, being in the jungle, they had nothing. But they had experience of abundance, of plenty. Having nothing, but experience of plenty and abundance. And they are feeling miserable because the list is long. Every time they are missing, not only in the list, but missing from their life also. And they feel miserable. In order to be happy, if you need something from here, then you will feel miserable. It's not that you should not enjoy life. Enjoy life. God bless you. God never says that you just be poor and just be in some corner, go to the Himalayas, leave everything and be in the Hollywood. But be in such a way that how you can feel in Hollywoods of India. Look at her. Amazing story. And this is power of meditation. The power of choice also she made. When she came there, saw first time, and she told me, this is beautiful. But the moment she came, I said, welcome home. But she doesn't know that I tell welcome home to everybody. I tell to everybody. Really. And because why not? But for her, it was very special. My God, welcome home. She called Dad. I found my home. Dad thought, he's gone crazy. But he had to trust that basically she's a scientist. Nobody can brainwash her. But what happened to our daughter? And Jewish parents are very especially, very, very protective about their children. They were very concerned. But I assured them not to worry. I told her, I asked her what you are doing. She said, I'm in the middle of the PhD program. I was doing neurochild psychology. I came, I said, okay, go back home, finish your PhD. Then we'll see. I thought people come to India, oh, wonderful, beautiful, and Vairagya. I said, go back. And she comes back, and in 4 months, in 1 semester, she wrote everything, and she comes back again. I said, here I am. Parent really became very concerned. But what was that which was bringing her back? That choice she made, and everyone has that choice. When to draw the line, when to say, it's not that you should not finish your PhD, you should not have your degree, you should not have abundance. But the choice was that how I can be happy and share that happiness with the world. That's what Buddha did. Left everything. Beautiful wife, beautiful child, beautiful palace. Went all the way to the jungle. He left even drinking water, eating food. Gave so much pain to his body just to find the answer. But he found it's not that you have to pain your body or leave everything and then you will find the answer. He had the food. Long story, I'll not go there, but he left to find that answer and found the answer, and then he went to share. And same thing happened to her. That first she, after having everything, seen everything, coming from that kind of family, and you will be very surprised. She was living in a very small room. Here, big house in Hollywood. And there, and after 15 years, when I went to, someday I was passing by from that line, that block. And I said, okay, we were going on the rooftop and said, okay, somebody tell, this is Sadhviji's room. I said, okay, let me see. So, very small room. I even didn't know. Very small room. For 15 years, no whitewashing, no, even doors were broken. But she never complained, never said grumbling, nothing. And she was living in that small room day and night, doing seva. Dedicated entirely. What brought that change? That was the power of that decision to draw the line that I want change, I want shift. The moment you make a decision that you want shift, shift is there. Shift is waiting for you, believe me. Shift is waiting for you. Yesterday we were talking, we keep our bucket upside down. The tap is on. The water goes not in the bucket, but outside of the bucket. Same thing happens to our heart also, to our life also. So, the power of meditation make her realize being there. What is there in the jungle also? What we had? Nothing. There was no chichi restaurant, no Mexican food, nothing. No Amada, no door-to-door service. There was no Google even those days. Now, when she also came, there was a Lonely Planet that guidebook. Nothing was there. And being in the jungle far, far away, nothing was there. But even in those difficult, sometimes, can I tell you, 3 to 7 days we didn't have a food even. No food. But whomever you ask, I always share this to remind you, because you are very blessed. Living with plenty, having abundance, everything in your life. When I was coming here, just 2 blocks away, I saw one man, homeless person, one bicycle, around the bicycle having sacks of plastic and everything. I was thinking about, I shared with her. I said, look, the life. 2 contrasts. You are blessed that God has given you to share. This is life. That's what she did. That was the power of meditation. That she learned the lesson to let go. That was power of meditation. To forgive. So much pain she was carrying. That's why I asked her, when you want to give this pain, when you are in the grave, decide now and give now and be free. Be free. You know, I don't know nowadays you have it or not. Those days, early days, they say, buy one and have one free, something like that.
Buy one, get one free.
Buy one, get one free. And I told her, God says, have me and be free. Buy me and be free. That easy. It's all, we are carrying so much on our head. We are running the show. Things are happening. Such a great divine design. Look at COVID. COVID has showed us a great lesson. So, she learned, did sadhana, tapasya, austerity, silence, meditation, to learn how to forgive. And she took very sincerely and seriously, came with me on the banks of Ganga, and I said, close your eyes and just imagine everything, whatever is bothering you, giving you pain, and you suffer because of all of that burden. Just imagine that is all coming in your 2 hands. And today you have to pour into Ganga everything. Sincerely, having that trust, having that faith, she did it. And since that day, I can see the change in her life. That's what it takes. One step forward. And believe me, God comes 60 steps forward to you. Just take one step. It's that easy. But we are so stuck. Today we are here. How we can, in New Year, how you can be new. How you can free yourself. And still something stays in your heart. I am here to invite you. What she did on the banks of Ganga. Let us have an international yoga festival is coming. Tommy, tell everybody. Whenever they have a time. And one email and home will be ready. Your Himalayan home. Last but not the least. If she can do it, you all can do it. You don't have to live in the Rishikesh area. Just bring Rishikesh to your homes. Make your Hollywood as Hollywood. Make your Hollywood as Hollywood. Hollywoods. So that easy. meditation, I always say, because everybody is looking for magic wand. I asked Sadhvi, what is magic wand? She explained to me, what is magic wand? And I said, oh, I can tell you meditation is like a magic wand. How you could turn your life from hell to heaven. That's why we were talking yesterday. Because the man went to the sage asking about the message of life. What is life? What is life? He said, life is what you make it. He said it in Hindi, Bolo जीवन कैसा है, जैसा बना लो वैसा है, चाहे इसको स्वर्ग बना लो, चाहे इसको नरक बना लो, बोलो जीवन कैसा है, जैसा बना लो वैसा है. He said it in Hindi, but I'll translate for you. That he said, what is life? You are living here in the middle of nowhere, in the jungle, having nothing. And what is life for you? He said, my son, life is what you make it. It's not the jungle or the city. It's not the caves or California. Doesn't matter. You can create your own cave right here in California also. It's not you have to go to the caves. It's your own choice. Bolo, जीवन कैसा है? What is life? Life is what you make it. Whether you turn your life to heaven or whether you turn your life to hell, this is all your own choice. And this is our choice. And thank you, Sadhviji. You made a good choice. And today, she is really...
हो गया, बहुत है,
Huh?
बहुत है, हो गया.
बहुत हो गया? She said, oh, she's
Enough.
enough.
In terms
Really,
of about
God
me.
bless you. God bless you. Okay, how she has touched millions, whether through the UN, being in their committee, being with the World Bank Committee, where's Religions for Peace, and everywhere. What is that? That's why I want to share with you. That one day she was missing her life, looking for direction, being miserable, and today she gave an end to that misery. That is your decision also. How you can end, and you should not take you to grave. Say sorry, forgive, and forget and move forward. These are the sutras are needed. Keys are given to us, and you are the key. And she found those keys. If you ask me, it's not that you have the keys, you have master keys. You can open any lock of your life. First key is your surrender, what she did. Second is sacrifice. It's not for me, I have to share to the world. Then is the let go. Then is the forgiveness. Then is compassion. Many keys are there. But at least we start with any key. Start somewhere and bring change to our life. And then our life also will become heaven, right here. Because heaven is where you feel. It's not the somewhere else when we die and waiting for you. Jivan mukti, soi mukti, marena mukti hoye. The Jivan mukti, the moksha, when you are living on this earth, every minute, every moment, from our own sufferings, from our own dividers we have created, those barriers we have created. No one else creates the barriers. Our own ego, our grudges, our jealousies create those barriers, and how to bring those barriers down, is your sadhana. And that's where your meditation becomes the magic wand and can create the magic. And you can also do this magic to yourself. You are the magic. You are the magic. God bless you. Rest. will share when you come back home in Rishikesh. And now, if there's time left, Sadhviji will have a question answer session. God bless you.
If there are questions, I think we have time for a couple. And there is a cordless mic. Yeah, wonderful. The back, Jen.
Just raise your hand and I'll come on over if you have a question.
Blessings, thank you. The question I have, in this world where there's a lot of attention, law of attraction, put your thoughts towards your desires. You know, there's a lot of, that's a lot of practice for many people. And then, of course, there's surrender and just let the flow show the way with no thought, emptiness, no identification with this body, this idea, this identity. Can you shed some light on those perspectives of just be and watch the show versus that intentional, quote, manifestation?
Sure. He said there's all of this energy and emphasis around manifestation and law of attraction, and yet we talk about surrender. What do? Do we manifest? Do we attract? Or do we let go and surrender? Yes. It's not actually either or when you actually understand really what the aspect of manifestation is. It is not, at its core, meant to be that through which you get things that simply reinforce the ignorance that you're already living in. It's not about using techniques to bring closer to you that which is going to just be more and more of an obstacle for you, just because you want it. It's about changing your relationship to it. So, for example, let's say I have a very deep yearning and desire for prosperity. I want prosperity, I want prosperity, I want abundance. And so I do all of my meditations or my affirmations or my mantras or whatever it is around prosperity and abundance. It doesn't mean, when it's real, that I open my eyes and there's a mound of money in front of me. It means that through that practice, if the practice is real, I realize how abundant I am. What I am manifesting is not object A, object B, door number 1, door number 2 for what I need to be happy on Monday versus Tuesday versus Wednesday. It's an awareness that we are energetic beings in an energetic relationship with the universe. We are not separate. That the universe is there to nourish and nurture and carry and hold us. And that when we can trust fall into the universe, it's all there. It may be more actual possessions in some cases than others, but that becomes an irrelevancy if you're really doing the real practice. So it actually is always about surrender. It's all about surrender. If my practice of manifestation is real, it is, oh God, not fulfill my list, as though somehow I've mixed up God and Santa Claus somewhere in my brain. But it's, oh God, free me from this, as Pujya Swamiji was saying, experience of lack. Free me from the ignorance. When we pray, asatoma sadgamaya, tamsoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Oh God, lead us from falsehood to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. It's lead us from that darkness, that ignorance in which we think we are separate, in which we think we are just this physical body, what it looks like, how much it owns, what it can do, how many people love it. And actually bring me into the light of wisdom, of knowing that I am soul, spirit, divinity, wholeness, fullness, abundant by nature. So it's taking us back into our true nature. The last point I wanted to just mention is that surrender does not mean you sit back and watch the show. No one is saying, or at least no one I've heard, is saying, surrender and make sure you've got a bag of potato chips or popcorn or, whatever you would want to watch the show. It's not about that. It's surrender to the universe, the power of knowing. Think about, you plant a seed, okay? Now, you plant it in fertile soil. You've got to do that. This is doing our dharma. We've been given a seed. What do? You plant it in fertile soil. You shine the sun on it. You water it. You are a attentive, diligent, disciplined caregiver, gardener of this seed. And whether it's going to sprout and give apples or oranges is out of your hands. The surrender is a surrender to the intelligence in the universe that knows whether that seed is supposed to give apples or oranges. It's not about me standing over it screaming, oranges, remember I said oranges. Or having to put Post-it notes, you are an orange, right? It's not the orange affirmation. That seed is going to sprout into what it is meant to be. And the surrender is a surrender to that. Because the alternative to surrender is not get apples instead of oranges. If that's an orange seed, the best you're going to get is juicy oranges. Doesn't matter what mantra you know. Doesn't matter what yoga you do. Doesn't matter where you go. How much money you have. The best you're going to get from an orange seed is juicy oranges. But if you've decided what you want are apples, you're not even going to get the oranges because you're going to scare that thing into never sprouting. Surrender is an allowing of the nature of the universe to unfold with a faith and a knowing that the fruit that is meant to come from this seed and fall into my arms in the garden of my life is exactly the fruit that I need to eat. And that there is absolutely no point in standing over a seed, shouting and screaming to try to get it to become a different fruit. That's surrender. It's not sit back and watch the show. You're still the gardener, the watering and the sun and the soil and all of it. But we allow. Yes. Maybe just one more, if there is. Yes, in the back.
Hello, my name is Olivia. I also have a Jewish mother, and she doesn't understand this path at all, and she has a lot of fear, and I feel like the more I progress on this path, the more pain that it causes her, and I just feel a little lost, so if you have any words from your own experience.
She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to manage her own anxiety. She's trying to manage her own fear in the very best way that she knows. And by the way, this is true not only obviously of Jewish mothers, but of everyone. All mothers, all fathers, everyone. When we try to stop someone from walking their path, from embracing their dharma, it's never about them. It's not that we would like to think that our parents really fully see us in our fullness, in our blossoming, in our dharma, and that the advice that they give us is rooted and anchored in that. And sometimes it is. Sometimes there are parents who have done their work in a way that enables them to parent like that. It doesn't sound like that's the situation you're in. It's not the situation a lot of us are in. And what you need to realize is that her fear of you walking this path is a fear rooted in her own sense of lack, her own whatever may have happened in her life, her own need for control, her own need for you to succeed and thrive in a way that she hasn't been able to succeed or thrive. I mean, I'm just giving a lot of different possibilities because I don't know her exact situation, but these tend to be the reasons due to which parents try to keep us from walking our path. And it's not that she doesn't see you or doesn't want to see you. A lot of times they can't see us. They just can't for a lot of reasons on a very personal level. I had a mom who couldn't see me. She loved me to bits. She couldn't see me. About almost 2 years ago, she had a devastating cerebral hemorrhage, a massive stroke, that very interestingly has actually made her able to see me. She's lost all her memory. She's living with me now in Rishikesh, but she's lost all of her memory. She has no memory of who she is, who I am, who anybody is, where she ever used to live, what happened to her. But for the first time in her life, she's able to actually connect to me soul to soul. There's no story. There's no drama. There's no agenda. There's nothing she wants from me. There's nothing she needs. There's nothing she's afraid of. And up until that, though, what we have are people doing the best they can, trying to hold up the world in the way that they think they have to, with their own death grip on life. So have compassion for her. Have compassion for wherever she is stuck, for the fear that she has, the anxiety she has. And realize you've got a dharma to fulfill. And we are not put on earth. We are not put on earth to prevent other people, even those we love, from having to do their work. We are not put on earth to prevent people from having to face situations, emotions, truths that might make them open up, dive deep. You know, when I decided to go to India, Pujya Swamiji was speaking about how when I called home and my parents freaked out. Actually, my dad was incredibly supportive. It was my mom who completely freaked out about it. And I went anyway. And the amazing thing is, as the years went by, her having to go through the struggle of wrapping her brain around the decision her daughter made actually created such a beautiful transformation in her. It was such a blessing for that opening that she had through Pujya Swamiji being able to come into her life, through India being able to come into her life, through her having to experience things, look at things, be in the energy of things that were not in her control. And so your dharma is to live your dharma. We don't shove it down other people's throats, but we live it in love and in truth, with love and compassion for them, but also with a very clear awareness that my dharma is not to prevent you from having to go through your own opening, your own work, your own awareness and realization. Such deep gratitude to this beautiful new family of ours at Rama. Julian, Jen, and there's another beautiful divine being who... Shabbat? Puri, did you say? Shabbat Preet. Shabbat Preet. Their whole team just... They really opened their arms, opened their hearts, opened this space in such a graceful and beautiful and exquisite way. And my heart is overflowing with joy that we have this new family and gratitude that you've opened our home to this. And as Pujya Swamiji said, our International Yoga Festival is coming up March 8th to 14th. It's an extraordinary event. Go to internationalyogafestival.org. Many of the beings in this room are coming as teachers, as participants. If you're looking for an excuse to get on a plane and come to India, if you've got that feeling in you that, yeah, I really should go, but you just don't have the actual catalyst, let this be the catalyst. And if for whatever reason that week doesn't work, well, the other 51 weeks a year are also very beautiful. And you're always welcome. Mantra se.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you both so much, Pujya Swamiji, Pujya Sadhvi. Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful evening, and Govindas for connecting us, and to all of you for coming to our space. You're welcome anytime, and we look forward to the many times that we'll continue to gather here together. Thank you so much. And we do have Sadhvi's books outside, and by donation, you can take one of her books and enjoy it. And if you have any other questions, we'll be up at the front desk ready to answer anything for you. Have a beautiful evening. So much love.
Sadhvi Jaya.